Ready for discovery? South by Southwest 2026 takes over Austin, Texas this March 12th through 18th. Expect the unexpected, where innovation, film and TV, music, and culture collide. Hear from global thought leaders, experience unforgettable screenings, and catch your future favorite artists all in 1 week. Unlock a 10% discount on your innovation badge when you use code CityCast10 at sxsw.com/Philly. Terms apply. Start planning your adventure today. It's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about anger over the school district's plan to close 20 schools. Plus, these cold winter days are straining our streets, subways, and libraries. And it's kind of like musical chairs again, with the Rocky statue moving up and the statue of a real boxer moving in. It's Friday, February 13th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week at the Filler Club is CityCast Philly executive producer Matt Katz. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Trenae. Good morning. Busy week in news.
Yes. We got to first talk about these sort of like 2 weeks that students and families have been voicing their concerns over the school district's plan to close 20 schools starting in 2027. Mm-hmm. Things have been getting heated conversations, like general concerns. Students have been sharing stories of like why they just love their school communities. And this plan, as it currently stands, would impact nearly 5,000 students.
Wow.
The district points to declining enrollment. School buildings are in bad shape. At the same time, the district wants to do some upgrades to about 150, 160 school buildings.
And they've been doing these meetings around the city with parents, administrators, teachers, community members, and they've been pretty rough by all indications. There's been a lot of tension, a lot of yelling at these meetings. Communities that are losing their schools are pretty unhappy.
And I want to talk about how City Hall is reacting to all this. Council President Kenyatta Johnson and Education Committee Chair Isaiah Thomas both have come out saying that they had concerns about the plan. There's been some other council members who've come out saying, we don't support the closure of a particular school in our district.
Right.
Now, Mayor Sherrell Parker supports the plan and is backing the school district in this decision. Now, families, students, teachers, administrators have until February 21st to come to the in-person or the virtual meetings to voice their concerns. And this week, I listened to the show After School, which is kind of a one-on-one conversation with Superintendent Tony Watlington on KYW News Radio. And he said, listen, the district is taking all of this feedback. So even though the plan stands right now, 20 schools are closing, he says it might change when we bring this plan and present it to the school board on February 26th.
And then even before he does that, there's going to be a hearing at City Council about this. And you are seeing a lot of pushback from City Council members, you know? And I mean, there's threats of withholding money for the school district if City Council doesn't have its way in making adjustments to this plan.
Right. And you're referring to like the budget that will later be talking about getting closer to like June is the deadline.
Yeah. So this is going to be a big issue in the coming weeks and months.
I had a chance to read some of the changes that the district wants to make. Central High School would be modernized to create a performing arts center and increase enrollment. Carver Engineering and Science, they want to add 5th and 6th grade to that school, which is now 7th through 12th. So it's a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And really, it's just going to impact so many families. I was on the phone with a friend of mine. Her daughter is at Parkway Northwest, which is one of the schools that is slated to close. The district wants to merge that school into Martin Luther King High School. And Parkway would serve as an honors program. But she told me the reason why she chose this school is because of the environment. Small classes. The administrators are so kind to her and her family. This is all going to happen 2027. I wish that the district had stopped accepting a freshman class.
Yeah.
Just to give them a buffer.
When? Now? Stop accepting now or in advance of this?
Yeah, in advance of this.
Just because if they were slated to possibly
close.
Be closed.
It's not going to it's okay, this school might close, so we're actually not accepting students right now. I know that would have maybe
that
caused
would have probably angered people too,
yeah,
right?
Because it's we decided on
that.
this, but what do you do?
I mean, the district is trying to go through this. They say as a very thoughtful process. They're taking all these factors into account. They're bringing all the demographics in and the state of the buildings. All these elements are gone into this plan, and they're trying to do this comprehensively. So to preemptively say, well, maybe this might close. I think they probably would not have wanted to do it that way. But I understand the effect that this is having on these students and these families.
My friend also gave me this other insight. She actually graduated from Ada Lewis back in 2001. This is the same vacant school where they found Kata Scott's body last year. The school building was promised to be something else, but it has stood vacant for 18 years, Matt.
Wow.
It closed in 2008. And so imagine now I think given Parker's home initiative, there is some maybe light to what these vacant buildings could be if they're rehabbed and all that kind of stuff. But then there is that element of this building could stay vacant, right?
Totally. And these are big buildings. Huge. So you're talking about a full block potentially that's just empty and sits vacant. And what that does to the neighborhood, it can be disastrous.
And remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about councilmanic prerogative,
right? District
council members have a lot of power and say on what gets developed, what doesn't get developed in their districts.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to give the school district some grace here because I am convinced that this needs to be done, that something needs to be done. We have decrepit buildings. Frankly, we have some disgusting buildings that are not fit for children, let alone human beings of any kind.
The teachers union has been talking about that because it's too cold
absolutely.
In, the warmer days, it's too hot. They can't cool it down enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and so there are some buildings that are nearly empty, that they're underpopulated. Populations have shifted around the city. The number of students in our schools shrunk as other options for schooling has opened up. So they do need to realign these facilities, and they need to realign the structure of the district in that way. I was reading about Conwell Middle School over in Kensington.
Right. And that's the one that Council Member Isaiah Thomas is fighting for.
Yeah, exactly right. It's been around 100 years, and I've never been there, but I have been to century-old schools, and I have no doubt that this one likely needs to be replaced, that there's
upgraded, maybe possibly.
But then if the upgrades in some of these buildings to make them really modern can be so much more expensive than even just replacing it. And then you have the fact there that there's just 109 students in that building. It can hold 500. So does it make sense to keep sending kids there? Does it make sense to keep a school open that only has 100 students?
But then I argue this, though, right?
Yeah.
Remember that idea or the concept of school year round or whatever?
Right.
Let's open the doors to the community. If there's a nonprofit in the area that needs space, right? The model of Bach.
But you could do that. You could close the school and turn it into a community space. Why do you need to keep it as a school?
But by day it serves as a school. By night it could be. You can have a Girl Scout troop. You can have pottery making classes and getting people school. Taking away a school is you're reducing community.
You are.
Now,
No
there's
question.
other things in our communities that serve as like that third space, coffee shops, even libraries, or, other businesses serve as like meeting places or gathering places. But a school building, come on, that you're
I
taking
understand.
away like community ties.
But
Yeah.
by merging populations, it could also be beneficial to students. So what they want to do with Conwell, in some cases, potentially,
Yeah.
what they want to do with Conwell is they want to move the students there to a school in Port Richmond, not that far away. They're both magnet schools. Conwell's a magnet school. The school they want to move them to in Port Richmond is a magnet school, and it's new. The one in Port Richmond is new. So for some students, they will be in a better environment.
Okay.
The
But
transition
that's
can
not
be
true for all of the
no question,
students.
for
Like
sure.
there's still territorial,
Yeah.
what do you call that?
No, there's neighborhood beefs.
Yeah.
And those might play out in these circumstances.
You cannot put certain kids with certain kids. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yep. That's why families at this
yeah.
at a meeting at Conwell were just shouting down the deputy superintendent who is trying to explain the plan. I mean, but in regards to like those neighborhood beefs, all these other issues that we're talking about, if and when the district goes through with this, whether it's at Conwell or any of these other places, they need to make sure that they're assisting with transportation for students that are going to be coming from further away, that they're providing the counseling support that might be necessary for kids who feel displaced, or if those neighborhood beefs play out, they need to help families with the enrollment process. If they need to be going to different schools, that can be extremely confusing. You and I have both dealt with the enrollment process in the Philadelphia School District. It can be confounding and stressful, so there needs to be support for that. So if there's going to be a realignment, and there will be to some degree, maybe it's scaled back, maybe it's modified, the district must spend the money and apply the resources to make sure that these families get as much help as they can to make these transitions, particularly when you're talking about students whose families are living in poverty, students with disabilities, students who might be particularly vulnerable in any other sorts of ways.
The big question is, will they get enough funding? And that's been the question for many years now.
Oh, it all comes down to money too. That's also why they're doing the realignment. They said this is a better use of the resources, the strained resources that the district has.
We've got more news after the break. All right, because of these cold winter days, some of our city libraries have served as warming centers for nearly a month, so people could stay safe, right?
Yeah.
But the Inquirer reports that librarians, the security at the libraries, and volunteers are basically burnt out.
I can imagine.
They don't have enough support, enough resources to help folks who have severe mental health and physical needs. These librarians are supplying snacks and water. Oftentimes they are working like way past their scheduled shifts because the libraries are serving as warming centers during the day. And then there are other warming centers around the city that are like the overnight warming centers. But the transportation that is supplied to like transport people from like a daytime warming center to a nighttime warming center, sometimes the transportation is late. And so the city's deputy managing director for health and human services acknowledges these challenges that library staff have talked about and described, and says everyone's been exhausted. But the city does say that they are working towards providing what they can, but it seems like it's just not enough.
Yeah. Maybe you got all these vacant, half-empty school buildings. They could be warming centers. No, but then you need to staff them, and then the burden falls on libraries. There are these professionals who have these buildings, and I can only imagine what they've been dealing with, especially since this cold streak has been going on for so long.
So the question is the library the right place to send people, right?
Yeah.
And because remember, librarians, the staff, the security, volunteers, they're also supporting people who are coming in to check out books and do research.
Totally.
And the kids that are playing,
coming for after school.
It's been sort of like kind of like a patchwork of just trying to support people, because I think librarians, they want to help.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a librarian, right?
Totally.
They want to help people
Yeah.
and they can see. But like if there are people that are being dropped off or walking in that need way more support, we need to kind of think about maybe, are there adequate resources to support those Philadelphians?
Right. Man, it's amazing during this cold snap. Just the city's resources in general have been so strained in ways that I never really considered before. So you have these librarians who are burdened with dealing with populations of people that have nowhere to go. And then like SEPTA's been dealing with burst pipes.
I know.
They've had 10 burst pipes at SEPTA stations. So this is when like it freezes, then it thaws a little bit and then freezes again. And there's this geyser. It's ice. It would look like an ice sculpture at the Tasker Morris station. There's a picture of it, and I have it for you.
Oh.
I brought the actual Inquirer to show you this picture.
Oh,
right? Isn't that
crazy?
There was a burst pipe. The
people are probably slipping
water
and
came down,
sliding.
and then the ice just like covered the station. Jefferson Station in Center City was flooded this week when a pipe burst at the convention center.
Right, I heard about that one. Yeah.
So that's been an issue that SEPTA is dealing with, and then the other just infrastructure in the city has been tremendously strained. Bike lanes almost entirely still blocked basically
with
by
snow.
the snow because it hasn't melted, and bikes, we talk about it all the time, but it is a way people get around the city. It's how they get to work. It's how they take their kids to school. So that's been a big issue. The streets that are 2 lanes have gone down to 1 lane, are still down to 1 lane. Lombard Street in Center City is still 1 lane. So the traffic there, I talked
about there's no street parking.
Yeah,
it's reduced street parking because the snow is
and that's
still
still
there.
happening. Totally. The biggest problem, though,
what
that I've had with this continued snow and ice and freeze is the dog shit. It's now everywhere. Have you seen it?
What do you mean, have I seen it?
Have you
It's
smelled
literally, I opened the door. Oh, it's right there. I'm like, okay. Is it y'all don't have enough bags? What is it?
I don't know what happened. I think, now that it's like melted just a little bit, it's really becoming apparent. And you just walk down a sidewalk that looks clear of snow, but then you just see a brown freaking smudge. I have a couple of theories. Okay. First, I think people maybe had a legitimately hard time picking up the poop with their bags in the snow. So you can't cleanly get all the poop up, maybe. And some of it kind of, but I think the bigger thing that's been happening is people didn't want to get chilly, and they opened the door and they let their dog run a couple of houses over, take a poop in the middle of the sidewalk. It's snowing anyway. Figured it'd get covered up.
I literally was like, I'm starting to see the street again, right? And then I'm like, no, it's poop. What the heck, man?
And then you add that to the the black snow because of just mud,
regular dirt,
right. And then the lapse in garbage pickups. There's a lot of more garbage on the street. And this city does not look great. I have friends coming in town this weekend from Virginia, and I'm a little bit embarrassed by our beautiful city because at the moment it's a little bit. It is not my fault. I guess I should clean up the dog poop from my block.
I got it. I know why there's so much dog poop, because the dogs can't go to the dog parks. It's probably still covered in snow, and it's going to be too cold for their little paws.
Right. You got to get those little cute
little booty things. Get the booties. I don't know. Listen, to the dog owners, we love the dogs.
We love the dogs. We just don't love you.
Please clean up.
No, we do love you too. I'm just kidding. But just clean up. And we know it's not all your fault. We know most of you are responsible. But some of you are really shitting the bed here. Shitting the street here, I should say.
All right, we've got more news after this break.
All right. Another week, another change with our Rocky statue.
Here we go.
So we know that it's now at the bottom of the art museum steps.
The real Rocky?
The real Rocky statue is at the bottom of the art museum steps, as it has been for several years.
Yes.
We know that it's the most visited tourist site in the city. Gets 4 times as many visitors as the Liberty Bell. I just read that it has almost as many visitors as the Statue of Liberty. It's just crazy. I mean, you go there any time of day or night, and you'll see people lined up at the bottom of the steps waiting to do their Rocky pose in front of Rocky. But they're moving it to the top of the steps, which is where it was in Rocky 3. So that's like the original location. There had been this whole custody battle with Sylvester Stallone, the guy who created and portrayed Rocky, of course, because he wanted to give us a replica Rocky statue to display, and he wanted to keep the original for himself. He is letting us keep the original now, and it will be now at the top of the steps, so people can do their thing. They can run up the steps, and then they can throw their arms in the air and get a picture next to Rocky. So that's, I think that's a good thing for a couple of reasons. I like it at the top of the steps. It's also a good thing because it makes room for Smokin' Joe Frazier. This was a real boxer.
Yes.
Unlike Rocky. A real world heavyweight champ, an Olympic gold medalist.
Yes.
He was actually really from Philly.
Yes.
He moved here when he was 15. He died here. He was also awesome. He beat Muhammad Ali in 1971. So he was legit. And this week, the Philadelphia Art Commission approved a plan to move a statue of Smokin' Joe Frazier, which is now outside Stateside Live down by the stadiums. And they're going to move him to the base of the steps at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where Rocky is now. So Rocky goes to the top of the steps, and Frazier moves into the bottom.
But you forgot to mention that Rocky's going inside of the art museum.
That's right. And I don't know all the timing with this, but this spring there is a exhibit at the art museum called Rising Up. Rising Up. We can't sing 2 weeks in a row on Friday News Roundup. I guess we can't sing 2 weeks in a row. The Art Museum has an exhibition coming up called Rising Up, Rocky and the Making of Monuments, running from April 25th to August 2nd. It will showcase over 150 works by more than 50 artists, and there'll be artifacts spanning more than 2,000 years. It's about the changing role of monuments across time, and it will feature the Rocky statue. So the Rocky statue is actually going inside the museum for this exhibition. That means like this spring when we have all these visitors because of the 250th birthday of America and the World Cup and the MLB All-Star Game, people will be able to go inside and see Rocky. I don't know actually where the other Rocky statue will be at that time, but we hope he's maybe outside still. And I hope Smokin' Joe Frazier gets moved over in time for people to see him outside at the bottom of the steps. So a lot of moving statues. What are your thoughts on Smokin' Joe going to the bottom of the steps?
Oh, man. Thank you. I don't think we need a Rocky at the top.
You don't want Rocky at all?
I don't think we need a Rocky at the top. And this is why I say that, because there is, or used to be, I think it's still there used to be a plaque where it was Rocky's footprints that says Rocky. And that is where you stand on top, and then you, as the champion that made it to the top of the steps, can throw your hands up and you're looking down the parkway and you get that picture. That's why I say you don't need a Rocky statue. I did speak with our sports contributor, OJ Spivey, this week about this story, and he mentioned such a great point that you're eventually going to have a made-up, fictional movie character looking down at an actual boxing champion. My hot take is myths and legends have lived on so long because people just did not have access to knowledge. People like really thought like Rocky. It's Rocky. That's Philadelphia.
Right.
That's
a real boxer.
And it's not. Representation matters. Having a Hollywood machine backing the Rocky series is enormous compared to the real stories of boxing legends from Philadelphia. And it's not just Joe Frazier. So many. Go up North Broad Street and go to the Blue Horizon. I think it's like 1316 North Broad Street.
Yeah.
That was an historic brownstone. It was like an 1,800-seat stadium with this like epic boxing rink right in the middle. Don't forget that Philly was like the epicenter of real boxing culture.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great that there's an exhibition about monuments, like you mentioned, and that sort of thing. But remember, Rocky was not real.
One of Frazier's granddaughters made that point at the Art Commission meeting this past week. She said, quote, "The history of the steps is well established to those that know about it, and they aren't the Rocky steps. They are the Smokin' Joe Frazier steps." And this is because the iconic training scenes from the Rocky movies, like hitting the frozen meat and running up the steps at the Art Museum, they're said to have been inspired by Frazier's real-life training regimen. Smokin' Joe even got a cameo in Rocky 1. He was introduced before Rocky's fight against Apollo Creed.
Champions in and out of the ring, Philadelphia's own Smokin' Joe, the beloved Mr. Joe Frazier.
Philadelphia's own Smokin' Joe Frazier.
And also, Joe Frazier, he also ran through the Boxers Trail in Fairmount Park around Strawberry Mansion. Right. I think it's also interesting that this is happening during Black History Month. It's also happening at a time when there was a rally this week at the president's house because of the dismantling and the taking down of the slavery exhibits. And so I think part of what the Art Commission had said this week, they want to acknowledge the truth.
And Frazier was Black, you should say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we not know that?
I don't know.
Or maybe,
not.
Maybe people don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Smokin' Joe is Black or was Black.
Yeah.
And so I think part of what the Art Commission was saying this week is that, they want to tell real history.
Yeah.
They want to tell their real stories.
Marguerite Anglin, the public art director for the city's arts office, she said that Philadelphia is big enough to, quote, celebrate both the real life story of Joe Frazier and the myth of Rocky. And we're proud enough to do that. In other words, it's not a competition, it's a conversation, and public art can help us have those conversations. I think a lot of more people are going to know about Smokin' Joe than they do now. And I think that's a good thing. And
I think a lot of Philadelphians who knew Smokin' Joe are saying, finally.
Yeah.
All right, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm going to go. I mentioned I have friends in town, and we're going to go over to the Museum of Illusions. Have you ever been there?
Yes. It's a little trippy.
It's totally trippy. Yeah. It's great for the gram. It's very fun for kids. It's exactly what it sounds like. And it's over by Old City. So I think we're going to hit up the Museum of Illusions, walk over to Reading Terminal, and do that thing.
So Philly.
I have a recommendation for you for this weekend.
Okay.
And it relates to Rocky.
Great.
You got to watch the new ESPN documentary on the Philly special.
That was the Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Right. The Super Bowl with Nick Foles, 2018. The Philly special was the very crazy play that the Eagles pulled off. And it's a deep dive into that play. But more than anything, it's a true love letter to Philadelphia. It really is. Sylvester Stallone's in it. Speaking of Rocky, they, at the end, literally recreate the Philly special at the steps of the Art Museum. So you have Nick Foles, you have Jason Kelsey, you have our coach at the time, Doug Peterson. Oh, yeah. They're all they're reenacting it because the idea of this movie is that this team was a real life underdog. They were a real life Rocky. They were not expected to beat Tom Brady and the mighty Patriots. In fact, they do a side-by-side and they compare Tom Brady physically to Drago, the boxer that Rocky fights, who's like this dominant figure. So it was just beautifully done. It ties the Rocky story with the Philadelphia story, with the Birds. There were so many cameos from all kinds of Philadelphians, from Chef Mike Solomonov to biggest Eagles fan I know, Gilly the King. It's really great. So highly recommend you watch that this weekend.
Eagles fans, we just can't let it go. We can't.
Let it go.
Like literally a whole season has passed. I saw stuff on social media. People were like on like Sunday at like 12 p.m. They're like, we can still say that we're the Super Bowl champions. Right? The current Super Bowl champions. Like people are not letting go. I know like CityCast Seattle's like, it's our time now.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of CityCast, there is a new show that you might have seen us promoting on social media. It is called Your City Could Be Better. Because let's be real, Philly could be better. So our CityCast CEO, David Plotz, is sitting down every week with a different host. If you don't know, CityCast Network has several other cities, like our sister podcast over in Pittsburgh, Chicago, Denver, DC, Austin, Nashville.
Are you naming
Twin
them all by
Cities,
heart? Okay.
Las Vegas, Madison, Seattle, Salt Lake City.
Listeners, I can confirm that Trenae was not reading. She literally knows the entire CityCast Network by heart.
They're
Very
our
impressive.
friends. Anyway, so David will be joined by one of us to talk about things our cities are trying to do as we grow and change, what our cities are doing right or wrong, or how weird things are getting. So be on the lookout for that weekly podcast.
Yeah. And we're going to, there's going to be all kinds of issues, I imagine, that they're going to talk about. I'm sure they're going to be talking about how cities are dealing with ICE. They're going to be talking about how cities are dealing with the fact that people are not going to the office anymore and they're converting offices to residences. They're going to be talking about
dog poop.
No doubt. And probably bike lanes.
So the first episode is already out now on YouTube and in the Your City Could Be Better podcast feed.
And it'll drop in our feed, in your CityCast Philly feed every Saturday.
So be on the lookout for that. All right, so this weekend, I'm going to be walking on a Black History Tour. This is presented by Visit Philadelphia and 1838 Black Metropolis. That's a local history nonprofit that preserves the stories of Black people who lived in Philadelphia in the 19th century. So on Valentine's Day, we're taking this really special tour. We're going to be exploring the Black population before the 1860s. We're going to be visiting significant stops along the Underground Railroad, early civil rights movements, institutions built by Black Americans during this time, and really learning a lot about the data that was collected in the 1838 Pennsylvania Abolitionist Society census.
Wow.
Now, 1860s, that's a significant date because that was the time before the Civil War, before slavery was abolished, before President Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated. So this is going to be just like a really great Black History Month experience for me and the kids. And I can't wait to share space with the community and just learn this wealth of knowledge.
That's great. Report back. Bring some interesting facts that you learn and anything cool you find out. Let us know.
And before we go, we have a CityCast Philly neighbor shout out. Welcome to the neighborhood, Virginia W.
Welcome.
And Virginia sent us a business shout out as well. The Athenaeum of Philadelphia, a beautiful private library founded.
Beautiful.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, your reaction is getting me excited. Okay. This library was founded in 1814 and overlooking Washington Square, which is like my favorite park in the city. Virginia says, highly recommended to the fellow bookworms.
Yeah, great.
And you can join us by simply going to membership.citycast.fm to become a neighbor.
Yeah, neighbors get these shout outs in our show and in our newsletter, and also get invited to these events. We had a big meeting this week. We're cooking up a bunch of events for 2026 for our neighbors. We have a rescheduled event with Chef Mark Vetri at the Fiddler Club coming next month. We've got some other unique activities that we're planning. So we're looking forward to hanging out with our neighbors all year long.
All right, Matt, have a great weekend.
You too, Trenae.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Elizabeth Kama. Our newsletter editor is Siani Cologne. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos. If you enjoyed the show, please share this with a friend. Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back Tuesday morning because we'll be observing President's Day. So stay connected with us for more news from around the city. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.